Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, I'm very happy to be here. But let me, before I start my contribution, let me say two things. We are happy to be supported by FAO, but we are a UN committee on world food security, equally supported by FAO, WFP and IFAD, and we are also working with other UN entities as we are working with companies, NGOs, research and know-how institutions. That's the one thing. The reason why I'm also quite educated to contribute to this meeting and to contribute to CFS is because I'm coming from the Netherlands. As a farmer's daughter, I was born and raised in one of the areas in the Netherlands, 1/3 of the Netherlands, which is below sea level. And I was born in an area that is 6 meters below sea level. So if my ancestors wouldn't have worked together to save our land, again, to fight against water or to work with water, I wouldn't have been a woman called Gerda, but probably a fish called Wanda. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the Safe Food Initiative, according to FAO, and Marcella already said it, almost 1/3 of food produced for human consumption is either lost or wasted. A shocking amount, while at the same time more than 800 people go hungry. This is why the Committee on World Food Security, CFS, which I have the honor to chair, tasked the high-level panel of experts on food security and nutrition, the HLPE, with releasing a report on food losses and waste in the context of sustainable food systems. This report served as a basis for intense policy discussions held between all CFS stakeholders at the last CFS annual plenary meeting in October 2014. The very extent of food losses and waste means we need to consider them not as an accident, but as an integral part of food systems, as a consequence of the way food systems function, technically, culturally and economically. But food losses and waste, and many of you know already, is a rather complex issue. This for 3 main reasons. The first reason, because there are many causes of food losses and waste. The second, because so many actors are involved. And the third, because causes and actors are interrelated. And this is why the Committee on World Food Security, as the foremost multi-stakeholder and evidence-based platform to deal with food security and nutrition issues, was a good place to discuss and decide how to tackle food losses and waste worldwide. And last October, we aimed at understanding the causes of food losses and waste and the shared roles. This is the premise to understanding what each stakeholder, states, international organizations, the private sector and civil society, research, etc., can do individually and collectively. There are micro-level causes that appear at each particular stage of the food chain where food losses and waste occur, from production to consumption, from farm to fork, as was said. There are meso-level causes, like those linked to the lack of organization between the different actors. And finally, there are macro-level causes of food losses and waste, for instance, lack of institutional or policy conditions to facilitate the coordination and collaboration of actors. This includes securing contractual relations to enable investments and to adopt good practices. These 3 levels are very useful in identifying what the various stakeholders should do. The role of the private sector is a critical one to reduce food losses and waste. But the private sector is doing already a lot, as they have clearly illustrated during the discussion in CFS and as is also demonstrated today and will be demonstrated today and in the other meetings of this very good initiative. And also before at the Safe Food Congress in Düsseldorf in May 2014 or next month in The Hague. For the private sector, starting with farmers, it is also an economic issue. 1.3 billion tons of food losses and waste per year means $1 trillion of food per year wasted, if valued at food market price. So, reduction will open savings and opportunities for actors across the food value chain, but also for consumers, because some consumers waste up to 20% of the food they buy. One important area of action is innovation, and there is a need to increase investment in technological innovations at post-harvest and consumption level. Let me give some examples. For adding value to agricultural products, for better use of co-products, for extension of shelf life, and to protect nutritional value. And there are already interesting initiatives based on innovations such as those aiming at closing the nutrient cycle. For example, food wasted can be valorized by insects which will themselves become fish or livestock feed, or even human food, producing high-quality protein at a very low economic and environmental cost. Thanks to methanation technologies, it can also produce energy for the farm. Another area is to share experiences to engage in collective action. Having been raised on a dairy farm, I know what it takes, the organization it requires for milk and cheese not to be spoiled until it reaches the consumers. It means a whole organization where everybody is collectively responsible for the final quality and taste of the product. Collective responsibility should be supported by more coordination and enhanced market information. And here there are plenty of useful examples in terms of technologies, especially information technologies, for farmers to be really and at all instants connected to markets, to serve and anticipate the demand of consumers, or to inform the whole food chain down to consumers about availability of produce, quality, prices and quantities. Action by single actors can be supported by other actors. For instance, retailers changing their marketing practices, industry changing standards for accepting produce, and consumers can practice better menu planning to reduce food losses and waste. These actors all can be triggered by raising awareness campaigns supported by the government. This will be one of the aims of the No More Food to Waste conference organized by the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs on 16 to 19 June this year in The Hague, and you're all invited if you want to participate. But besides the actions by actors and other actors, there is the area of policies and regulations, because many regulations affect food losses and waste negatively. For instance, those that limit the reuse of surplus food for humans, for animals, or for energy. These include bans on fish discards, food safety and hygiene regulations, or waste regulations and policies. This should be corrected. Too much food is wasted that is considered as no more of a certain standard or past a certain date, but still perfectly edible and safe. We should find ways to give value to it by selling it at a discounted price or through food banks, using it for non-food but valuable uses, such as feed or for compost or for energy production using technological innovations. Action to reduce food losses and waste requires an enabling environment. This is the only solution to move forward on this serious issue collectively. We need to promote an environment of trust in order to enable investments. For this, I urge all stakeholders to use the principles for responsible investments in agriculture and food systems, RIE, that CFS adopted last year. And Marcella already pointed at the importance of the RIE principles, and guess who is the focal point for this to implement them? Marcella Villarreal. So if you want to make work of the RIE principles, try to approach, contact Marcella Villarreal. But this is the first thing, and I really advocate them. The second is promote innovation, experimentation and exchange of good practices, just like you have in mind for today and next meetings. 3, encourage training and capacity building to strengthen the coordinated use of appropriate technologies with a special attention to women. And the fourth suggestion is disseminate accurate information and advice to consumers, including appropriate labeling. Ladies and gentlemen, a good friend of mine put it this way: if food was as expensive as a Ferrari, we would polish it and look after it. Instead, we waste staggering amounts. Let me read it because I'm crippling this. My friend said, if food was as expensive as a Ferrari, we would polish it and look after it. Instead, we waste staggering amounts. In CFS, we are focused on restoring the true value of food for producers, for consumers, for businesses. We are focused on collective action with all stakeholders, and we propose a way forward for everyone. And the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has set an objective, and he is working shoulder to shoulder with the FAO, as Marcella already pointed out. It is the objective of zero hunger. Well, zero food losses and waste is a huge contribution to this ambition. Multi-stakeholder collaboration, including strong private sector support for food losses and waste reduction projects, is the only way to reach zero food losses and waste, and at the same time of great support to reach zero hunger. It can be done within our lifetime, so let's do it. Thank you so much and have a very fruitful day.